So how has business been for you? How are you finding things through? I guess it's almost been like what, a month since I've been on with you. So
Yeah.
how have you found December, end of November so far with your leads and engagement?
So like usually around this time for everyone, it's like a lot of people are either working with them already or they have a certain need that they need to get into because of their situation.
Yeah.
So generally, like most leads that I feel that are coming in are obviously going to say, well, we're waiting till the new year, all that kind of stuff. So that's
Mm.
fine. But I think now more than ever, because a lot of agents are shutting it down earlier and like, things are kind of creeping up faster than what it is, if you still can make time to lead gen and all you're doing is just touching base, letting them know who you are, come with the script that you're a customer service role, just want to make sure that, you're finding what you want and just kind of build like some sort of connection that way. You're
Mhm.
really just planting seeds for next year. And like also too, people are not answering. I'm finding texts are working a little bit better. People are responding back to our emails. So yeah, like
Mhm.
I'm finding it like people are still coming in, but like either they're non-responsive when they're coming in, and I get them like about a couple days or a week after with like one of our campaigns. But really everyone's just kind of saying till next year and whatever. So we're just kind of
Yeah.
planting the seeds, seeing if they're on nosy, like if they need to sell, put them on the nosy neighbor, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm finding probably a lot of people are overwhelmed with the season. Their December is probably moving just as fast as ours is.
Right.
And this is kind of put on the back burner for a lot of people unless they have to, find
Right.
something
Right.
sooner rather than later, right? So
Right. And also like the interest rate doesn't help it.
no,
So
no.
like because obviously December 7th they increased it another 0.5%.
Hmm.
So it's just, like especially right around Christmas, like I said, unless people are looking to move or have to move right now under contract, or have to sell, like a lot of people are waiting till next year, which I mean is only like 3 weeks away, really.
Yeah, you think about it. And
But I think that now is the time as agents, obviously this is time to like, as long as you're doing your lead gen and you're reaching out to your database and going by and seeing them after you've done all that, take time for yourself and your family because like next
mhm.
year should be busy again.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a good time to get through those calls because a lot of people aren't going to answer, right? So when you're trying to clean up your call list, sometimes those people that don't answer, it makes it a lot faster for you to complete your daily routine, because you're hammering out more calls and not spending as much time because you're not having as many conversations. So, but you're still clearing out your filters. You're still going to get those conversations 100%, but it's going to allow you to kind of move them through the various pipelines at a different pace, right? So,
Right. I
you know,
agree. It's just
so
relationship building at this time, right? Like,
mhm.
as you guys have been watching us in the past with, our biweekly, content, it's important to really just build relationship. The reason why we are successful and my team's successful and my agents are is because we're building relationships. Yeah, you're going to get
Mhm.
people that are not interested. Yeah, you're going to get people that are working with realtors or, have someone in mind. That's okay. Like, all you just need to do is just like it's a store, right? You have people coming into your store. You're not going to get everyone, but at least you're, connecting with everyone. If they don't have a need, then or they have a solution on their own, that's great. But you're also trying to find the people that don't have the same type of solutions, right? And not a lot
Mhm.
of people do.
Yeah. And even those leads that may feel like they have a solution, they're not buying now. Sometimes they know, and again, you never know where your next referral is coming from.
100%.
Right. So they may be working with a specific agent already, but you're still there sending them valuable information. They may forward that information off to somebody else, right? That person ends up signing up on your website.
Right.
Or maybe you are still touching base with them, just making sure searches are still set great, and they're still receiving what they want to be receiving, and you're taking such care and attention that again they might just refer you to somebody that they know is looking. So
Yeah.
um, and there is a way, you guys. So if you are running Google campaigns in your system, typically where you see the source and the registration, so the timestamp when they registered, what website, you're going to see like their location at the time of registration. So that little column there. If you see Google, that's a referral source. So that's like the referral source to that was Google. If you're seeing a lead in your dashboard that does not say Google on it, if you're running a Google ad, that's a lead that's an organic lead that came from one of your existing leads sharing them a listing. they either came in directly through a website or they got shared a listing and they were forced to register in order to view it. So the Google wasn't the referring source at that point. So sometimes you will spot some of those in your system. So you know that those are, just know that those are the existing leads in your database that have actually shared a listing to somebody else or shared some content that somebody found valuable enough to register on your site list.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
and like a lot of times too, like if you have like a social media presence and you're putting your branded content there, like your branded website, like people do come to those websites as well too, right? So which is really, really cool.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is really
Now,
nice.
is your team still following? Because I know you have your little spreadsheet that they do. They work on how many conversations or engagements. Are they still focusing on
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yes. So there's still like especially closer to the holidays, and like we've had about 4 or 5 listings in the last 3 weeks. All of them got sold. We just have one more just sitting on the market right now, which is fine. But it's also kind of slowing down. Like I don't know if if you guys are following your market and looking at the inventory every day, inventory has started dropping, but there are still properties that are still booming. I put an offer on an attached house in Bowmanville that had two kitchens, but non-legal basement. It was listed at 599. There was 17 offers on it last night.
Yeah.
So like inventory's down, even with interest rates going up, it's still inventory that is available, right? So it's just making it harder for buyers to qualify. But I think that a lot of people are starting to use the hold off method, which I think is a good idea, because you're putting things at market value or a little bit less or a little bit more, but no one comes and see it. So it's just funny. It's just funny how buyers are. Buyers need a timeline.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I wonder, like, how's everyone on here, like with your leads and everything else that's happening? Have you guys seen anything that you need help with, or is there, any objections that you're going on or you're getting from your leads that, is giving you a tough time? I'm a wealth of knowledge. I'd be happy to help you guys out. My internet's a little bit spotty at my house. So I don't know if I can do a dial today, but I'm here if you guys need any assistance, because that's what I'm here for.
Now, is everyone, so I know not everyone's all chatty. Actually, you know what? This chat thing, give me 1 second. Gotta make it so everyone can chat. It's like they updated it so that I have to turn it on every single time. So the chat is now open, just so you guys are aware. Sue's just looking for general conversation or conversion, general conversion tips that you would kind of recommend.
Okay. So can you give me a scenario, like, because really it, what you need to do is ask questions. A lot of agents get caught into, like not telling and like not really like explaining things that you don't even know that that's their problem. Right. And I think it comes from value. So, if there's let's say if there's a buyer that comes onto your website, and you kind of don't really like, the whole thing about Agent Locator and why the CRM is so successful is because like when you're setting people on your prospect match, you see what they see. You also see how many times they view it. You have so much information about the behavior from that lead that you need to incorporate that into your scripts. So if I know someone came in and looked at Clarington and Bowmanville, let's just say, or Clarington, single townhouses or whatever, right? I'm going to look at those before like coming on the market, see which one she likes or he likes, which ones they've viewed the most, and bring that up in conversation, right? So it would just be like, hey, yeah, I can just role play with you, Crystal, if that's okay. But sure. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's actually just Nick Moretti calling. I just want to thank you so much for coming onto our website on morettirealestate.com. And I just want to just chat with you and just say thank you and make sure that you had a great user experience. I see that you're looking at homes in Clarington that are townhouses. I just want to make sure, is that what you're looking for? Or would you want me to adjust your criteria in any way?
Well, for now, yes, I think townhouses. I don't think I can, like, with the cost of everything, it looks like that's kind of where I'm being pushed to purchase is the townhome at this time. As much as I would love to have a detached home with a larger yard, I don't think that's feasible at this time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. However, in this market, you can kind of be surprised because there's some agents that are not listing properties correctly, so that you may have opportunities. So let me just ask you a little bit more information if you don't mind. Are you looking for 3 bedrooms or 2 bathrooms minimum?
Preferably, yeah. It'd be
Okay.
nice to have 4 bedrooms, but yeah,
Yeah,
at least
I know
three.
what you mean. Are you guys a growing family, or are you guys a big family already?
We're not growing. We're already a decent sized family. So 3 bedroom is pushing it. I would have to have a couple kids share a room, but
Okay.
four, yeah.
How old are your kids? Like, would you, because sometimes you can find like a room in the basement, right?
Yeah.
So you get a 3+1, which is generally a 4 bedroom house. Do you think something like
Mhm.
that could work in your family dynamic?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And then are you only just looking in Clarington, or are you looking at other cities?
In and around that area just for commute times. It's really, and
Okay.
I like kind of, yeah, I don't like to be too close to the downtown cities or, clusters of
Yeah,
everything. So
yeah, I understand. You want the best of both worlds a
yeah,
little bit of
yeah.
privacy, but businesses and convenience around you. So I totally understand. Are you
Hmm.
looking for only open concept or kind of traditional, or you're just kind of looking at whatever your budget gets you?
So far, just whatever my budget can get me. I'm not too specific about, or picky about what it is because,
Sure.
sometimes you find some traditional layouts that are actually really nice and
Right. And
sometimes
plus,
you find they open. Yeah.
yeah, and plus when you go into the house, you get to make it a home, right? So
Hmm.
it's going to be really cool once you put your stamp on it. Now, if
Yeah.
you don't mind me asking, how much were you looking to spend in between for a townhouse?
Well, we're looking to stay under 800,
Okay.
preferably under seven,
Okay.
not stretch it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? I think that's a healthy budget. I think in that budget you can also get a little bit more homes that have values like semis or detached. They
Mhm.
may need some sweat equity, like some little renovations from to get it to where you want to be move-in ready possibly. But let me
Mhm.
show you a few options and then we can kind of go from there. But have you been already pre-approved, or have you just is this a number that you guys are just comfortable in spending?
Well, we've just used some online calculators, and based on what it's telling us on there, what we can afford. We haven't formally actually gone and spoken to anyone yet. No. So.
Okay. Well, just to let you know, we do have like a mortgage broker that can shop around for you. Or if you want, you can also go up to your banking institution. I find that that helps the best because they already have history on you.
Mhm.
Who do you bank with, if you don't mind me asking?
CIBC.
Okay, perfect. So would you want someone at CIBC that could help you out, or would you want a mortgage broker that could kind of, shop around for you and find you the best rate and save your time?
I'm always looking for the best deal. So
Okay.
whether it's with a mortgage broker or my bank,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update your criteria. I understand you're just in the information stage. I really appreciate you not hanging up on me. So
Hmm.
I appreciate that. So what I'm going to do is I'll update your criteria, and then if you don't mind, I'll send you my mortgage advisor, so you can get his information. If he doesn't hear back from you in a couple of days, is it okay if he can reach out to you by text or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Crystal. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. So like Crystal, you killed it as a role playing. um, but like, that whole conversation is usually what I would say when I'm talking to a new lead, right? So I
Hmm.
think like a lot of tips of closing is getting to know her a little bit more personally, right? Like I asked 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. She said, well, you know what? We needed more. And like, you're finding out information. Oh, are you a growing family, or are you just a big family now? Right. So you can
Hmm.
get an idea, because if they're a growing family, they probably don't want a 3+1 to put
Yeah.
someone in the basement. But if they're
Hmm.
already a family like that, maybe they'd be open to it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely. Like giving them options that they may have not considered as well adds value,
mhm.
right? So
And like
not
a lot,
everyone would think that way. They would think they're doing searches that are just like 4 bedrooms. So of course, a lot of the time those listings aren't coming up, right?
right.
So.
So you got to
Hmm.
think around the box, because a lot of people are going to just put 4 bedrooms, and then it's going to be like, there's not going to be a lot of listings. And then someone comes to me and I'm asking all these other questions. So I'm finding more opportunity for them to hopefully like a property that I'm sending, so I can make it work with them. But also too, like, asking her everything, and then asking like what numbers they are. Are you thinking of spending that much? A lot of people would have shut down that conversation after finding out how many, like, their criteria is, what they're looking for. I feel like once they know their price of 700-800, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't ask if they were pre-approved at that time. They would assume based on the conversation that they were already pre-approved, but actually they were not. So this was a great opportunity to send one of my referral circle opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, absolutely.
so these are like all little things. And remember how everything I brought personable to her. Like, oh, what would you want? Oh, would you want open concept? Like sometimes you got to just ask questions just so they like, talk more. Because the more they talk, that's how good the conversation's going.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're
And
talking a
it
lot,
gets them to open up for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So you're asking more questions, you're listening, and you're engaging with those responses. Their walls are dropping at that point.
Right.
Right.
And then it's like talking to a friend, and now you're building a relationship, right? So that if she does see something, she's going to reach out to me and let me know, hey, I saw this. Do you think you can help? And then also too, like if you're sending it to one of your referrals circle, like, and obviously if they're the same or better quality as the agent that's taking care of this person, like that's another capture in your web to make sure that leads funnels into you, right? So like, that's important.
Yeah.
I've had leads where they're like, no, I wouldn't want a second opinion because they hooked me up with the mortgage person. I can't go with you. I'm using their person. So
yeah.
People get loyal, right?
Yeah, definitely they will. Now, what would you do in a scenario? So Sue is saying that the people that she's talking to can't afford to buy. So when you're coming across a lead that say that, wants to be able to purchase, but just can't purchase, or perhaps what they're looking for just doesn't fall within what they could potentially afford, how do you handle those individuals?
Yeah. So remember, like, just because they're not ready yet doesn't mean like it's not a sale, right? And I think a lot of agents, like 80% of agents, want the deal right now. And like, how we've gone successful is by planting seeds and getting everyone to, real estate's all about everyone's own timeline. Everyone's going through different things. Everyone has different wages. Everyone has different things going on. That it's hard to put a timeline on like when someone's going to buy a house. It's either they're ready or they're planning to do it in the next 6 months to 3 years, right? So really, like when you know that there's a lead that's not ready yet, this is still a great time to still like showcase properties. Like, okay, I understand type of product you're looking for. I'm going to keep you on this list. I'll send it once a month or once a week, whatever you're interested in, just so I'm not bombarding your email, but just so you can keep an eye on the market so that when you're ready to plug in and play again, you already are a little bit more educated in the community, the type of properties you want and what you need to get those houses. Then I can come in and be the superstar and filter it through and get you into what you want. But you have to be like, in times I've had, them get in touch to like a financial planner to like plan their wealth for the next 2 or 3 years. So like I said, you're building your web, right? So you have a mortgage broker, a financial planner, like, you have all these great tools with you in these relationships to help you get this lead more. Because when you're helping someone, get a goal, which is buying a house, and they don't know how to do A to B to C to all the way to Z to buy the house, and you're the guide, like the guidance counselor, and you're teaching them how to do it and you're referring them to the right people, like when they're ready, they're calling you. And guess what? They're also referring everyone, because chances are they probably know people who want to be, get a house as well, or maybe in that same scenario where they are seeing the light, but they don't know how to like walk towards it. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, absolutely. A lot of people need their hands held when it comes to this. So we can't assume anything. And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls for anyone doing this is there's a lot of assumptions. We have to try to stop doing the assumptions, and it doesn't help you any because then you avoid specific questions. But in some cases, like what I find as well is it's like your for now home, right? So some people might, like for Sue, they might have a lower budget. Maybe they want to get a townhouse, and you're like, well, that's not even feasible. Well, what would be feasible within that price range? Are they willing to sacrifice for a couple of years and have a little bit tighter of a living quarter while they build in that equity to get to the point where now they're actually, able to purchase and get into what they want, or they can purchase something even as if they're currently renting, maybe they're able to buy something that doesn't fit their family, but they can also rent that out, right? So they can take that now, have this property, make money off of the the rent itself, and put that into your savings to be able to save for a down payment to actually buy that family home. But at least they're in the market with something, right? So
Exactly.
it's
And like, and
creative
remember,
structuring.
yeah, sorry,
Go
my
ahead.
internet,
No
my
worries.
apologies, Crystal.
No worries.
I was just saying that remember too, like it's the referral. You don't know who they know that could be ready, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I think a last a couple of I think one of our last classes that we've done with this, I was telling the story how I had an agent locator lead that I was a second opinion, wowed their socks off. Then they used me to find the house. Then when it came to purchasing the house, they actually went back to the agent that they had the relationship that they didn't like and they felt
Mm-hmm.
obligated to use. And then what happened was they purchased that house through them. I could have been like, F you, be really nasty, but I didn't. And I was like, I get it. I understand your scenario. I get it. You know, it sucked for me, but whatever. And came from, you know, they go low, we go high. And they referred me 5 deals in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, you don't know. And like, remember, like, also to a lot of people have like obligations that they feel like in your family and all these things that just because you lost like the battle doesn't mean you won the or lost the war, right?
Yeah.
Because they
Mm-hmm.
use that person just to purchase, but like when it comes time to sell and upsize, as long as you keep in touch, you might be the agent that gets that.
Mm-hmm. People move again. At the end of the day, you guys are building databases. So just remember that. Just because you didn't win them this time around doesn't mean you can't win them the next time around.
Right, right. And like
And,
that's kind of it. And sometimes they need to experience like shitty agents and shitty like scenarios and making people not feel good for them to be like, oh my God, you actually care about me. Wow, you actually are going above and beyond. Like,
mm-hmm.
you know, so that's the thing, right?
No, absolutely.
And I think for Sue, looking at the chat here about people who like, you know, agents that don't speak English well, I think you just need to write a script and like make it as basic as possible with your personality. But also too, like if you do speak another language, I would be looking to work that, you know, culture as well in
Mm-hmm.
your community by any chance, because like
Yeah.
you already have a strength of speaking that language. I would try to use that as much while you're trying to, you know, focus on other scripts over there.
Or just have somebody that you know that you can refer to.
Yeah.
Right. So again, if you're having a hard time, there is definitely a language barrier there. You can only help them so much. Um, Sometimes it's easier, obviously, in person because you can make eye
Yep.
contact with someone, and it's a different experience. But again, at the end of the day, it's like if you feel like you're going to be able to struggle or you're going to be struggling, is you know try to refer that out. And some of the more creative or the smart teams out there I see they have all different cultures on their team for that exact reason. Is
Yeah.
because if I can't help you, I know somebody I can,
Right.
right? Or if your English isn't great, but you speak whatever other language, I have someone on my team that does, right? So
Exactly.
those are some of the more creative ones that I've seen. And that actually I started seeing a little while back. I guess I don't know
Nice.
how many years back, where I started to see, and I actually saw it down in Vancouver more so than I did in Ontario. When I was in Ontario, I
Nice.
didn't really see that so much with the teams in Ontario, but I saw it very creative in small niche areas where there is such diversity in certain neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
That and they target a specific neighborhood, they make sure that their team can accommodate all that diversity within that specific neighborhood.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important.
Oh, absolutely. Your conversion rate. How was your
So
conversion rate this year on AEL?
yeah, I think this year we've done about 18 closed, but like also too, like we are also like I already have with Agent Locator two or three other contracts that I'm putting out daily, so buyers. And we also
Mm-hmm.
have sellers that are probably going to sell in the beginning of next year. So it's hard to know exactly because, like I said, we built relationships and everyone has timelines. But so far, I would say that we're probably at like a 2 or 3%. But we also have a lot of leads coming in. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
and you've been doing it for a couple of years. So again, if you've been working your dashboard effectively for a couple of years, some of those leads I imagine Nick, that you are converting this year are actually from 2 years ago or last year,
Yes.
right? They're not all the ones that signed up this year. So that's the one thing for you guys to always consider, is that your conversion rates will compound every single year if you are consistent in your dashboard.
Totally.
So it's only going to get better and better and better in there if you guys are actually working them.
Yeah. And I'd rather just lowball it so it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be one of those agents that say whatever, but it's about like our team and I are doing about 2-3%, I would say. So, but we also get a lot of leads. I think, you know, we have a big ad budget, but I think what it comes down to is, you know, if you're consistently on your CRM and you're following up with everyone and there's no one really lagging behind, I think it's good to up your budget if you can, just because, you know, the more people that come into your store, the faster the opportunity comes to get a deal. You know what I mean? And build a relationship and all that kind of stuff. So it just really depends. And it comes down to your scripts. Like, obviously, like, you know, when you first started, it's uncomfortable, but remember, like in real estate, there's so many ways to lead gen, and every lead gen is going to have one part where you don't like and you don't want to do. It doesn't matter. Like if your lead gen is doing events, there's going to be days where you don't want to do an event, right? Like, we're all human. Like, you know what I mean? And some days are going to be like, wow, I don't want to do it, right? But like, it comes down to discipline, it comes down to your goals, and it comes down to like really, you know, making a promise and holding yourself accountable. If you need an accountability partner, by all means do that. But I think at the end of the day, you have to have that, you know, conversation with yourself on like being serious on your goals and what you want to achieve.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know? But yeah, so I mean, a decent ad budget is based on like what you're able to spend, to be honest with you. Obviously, if you have the money to spend $1,000 a month, 2,000, 5,000, whatever, like, I mean, do it, because more people are coming to your store, you know, and the more people that come on, but you just need to make sure that you take what you can bring in and facilitate. Don't spend like a huge budget and have like 70 people waiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. So I find that a lot of people take more than they can actually chew, trying to anticipate and get more leads, get more deals, and then they're not working those leads. So it's really not going to be effective. So it's starting, if you know, a healthy budget. It's just kind of putting into consideration, you know, depending on where you are, many areas your lead cost is anywhere between $10 and $15 on average. We're kind of looking at $12 right now is where it's sitting, right? Yeah. So that's, you know, take whatever you're spending and kind of divide it by that number. It's kind of giving you that rough estimate of how many leads you should be expecting every month, right? But again, if you have leads existing in your dashboard, and I will always tell people, as much as I want you to spend way more money, if I see there's a ton of leads in their system that are active, that have not been actioned yet, that are not effectively being actioned, I actually tell people, like, hold off for a bit. Let's wait for like 2 to 3 weeks. I need you to work on your dashboard, get caught up a bit, and then it's going to make more sense. Because right now, if we're just throwing more leads in there, you just create more mess for yourself, and they're all just going to sit there like the current ones, right? So,
and then when you want to be, and when you log in, sorry, Crystal, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think this goes really hand in hand to what you're saying, because when you log in, you're going to feel overwhelmed and you're not going to want to do it.
Yeah, you want to make sure that, or try to your best, right? Your old leads are actually your better leads, believe it or not. So if they're in there and they're active, those are the ones that that you're going to find better opportunity with. 100%. So we definitely want, you know, they're not garbage. Okay, so some of those older leads are not garbage. You'll be, you know, pleasantly surprised that they're actually a lot more willing to have conversations with you. And a lot of them have now had a year or 2 or 3 or however long they've been in your system to actually get themselves ready to make this move. Because again, the consumers are going online much earlier in the process and they're starting to look, right? Yes. They want to move in the future. They haven't quite figured out a date. They don't have a date. Sometimes it'll happen within that year, sometimes 2, 3, 4 years. But they're starting to look that much sooner than, you know, previously they were looking. So they're not actually signing up because they're moving within the next 6 months necessarily. A lot of them are long-term nurturers.
Right.
For sure.
And like, remember, it takes 3 to 18 months, right? And I've been actually seeing a lot more of my older leads start popping on, which is great because remember, like, no one's contacting them. Like, they're just popping up again. So if you can be convenient and you know, kind of work that when they come in, like that's where it's at.
Yeah.
So I would
Um,
say like a workable amount of leads. Sorry, Crystal, I see
yeah.
that you're seeing
Yeah.
it.
No, a workable amount of leads is all dependent on you.
Yeah, you can do
Reality
100.
is, again, you got to remember these leads are compounding every month, right? So if you can like 30 leads, 30 calls a month, well, that's definitely should be workable,
Right?
100%. But remember, those 30 is 30, then 60, then 90, right? 120. So all of those leads, essentially, you have to be able to work. So whether you're ramping it up in the beginning where you don't have as many leads because you have more times, and then scale it back if you start to get to the point, okay, well, I'm slipping on these ones, I'm falling a bit behind on my calls here, and you can always scale it back a little bit, then ramp it back up once you catch up. So
Yeah,
it's all relevant to, you know, what you're able to manage, and as well as how often or how much you're dedicating into your system, right? How much time are you actually putting into it?
for sure. And I
Um,
also think that if, you know, this is great for team leads, like, you know, if you're like myself, you just give more to your team members. They're going to be happy, right? Like,
mhm. Oh
right?
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. And then Google and Facebook. So Facebook leads generally on a buyer side are generally a lower cost per lead. Not always, but generally they are. The lead quality isn't too much different. The primary difference between your Google and your Facebook lead is the Google leads, they have intent. They're the ones going online searching for what it is you have to offer. Facebook, we're putting in front of an audience that we feel would be interested in what we have to offer. Now, if our ads with Facebook, for example, are formulated, they're not bait and hook. They're realistic ads. They're targeting people based on real life scenarios, kind of thing. So the quality there, they're not going to be all tire kickers. Like, yeah, if you're doing a bait and hook ad, that's definitely going to get a lot of tire kickers. Now, again, you got to remember though, like Facebook, you get people, they see it, they're like, oh yeah, I'm interested. They sign up. Google, even though they are doing those searches, we don't know why they're doing those searches. Just because they're searching for listings does not mean that they're moving, right? They could have been, you know, driving down the road and they drove by their childhood home and it just happened to have a for sale sign in it. So they went online and looked for it and, you know, that's why they're on there, right? So the quality of the lead is fairly similar. It's just the way that they're actually generated into your system. The Facebook can sometimes take a little bit longer to convert, but not always. Not always. Sometimes you get some and they're ready to go, right?
yeah,
And they came across and you reached out to them and it's bada boom, bada bing.
totally.
Thank
I
you.
think I think also like I personally like the Google ones just because like it's long term. I
Mm-hmm.
find with the Facebook ones in my experience, but everyone has different experience, that they're hot, but there's like a little bit more you have to go through. Whereas Google, like, you know, you build a relationship. I find with the Facebook ones, yes, you can, but I find like they're hot or they're just like not looking. But
Mm-hmm.
it's all
Mm-hmm.
on they're all different, right? But like I just really like Google.
Yeah.
Social media.
TikTok, yeah, TikTok is good, absolutely. So
Yeah,
basically, you're building audiences for yourself because of the content you are posting. Um, the You're going to want to, in any kind of way, shape, or form that you're using social, and you're doing your content, you have to switch it up. So it can't just always be listings. It can't always just be virtual tours. You know, go different. Like people have to basically be drawn to who you are as a person and the content you're sharing, whether it's real estate related or not, right? One of the individuals that we have, we actually did a webinar a couple of years back now, I think it was, where finds actually really great success on TikTok. None of his content is real estate related.
yeah,
None of it.
exactly.
He has it in his bio. So it's in his bio and he's got one of those, it's a certain link. I can't remember what it's called if you came across it, where you click it and it gives like,
Linktree.
I'm a realtor, go visit my website, you know,
Yeah,
go here to see my blog, go here to like whatever, right? So people are actually curious by looking at the profile, who is creating this content. And he's actually getting people reaching out to him or like people actually recognizing him because he'll just go around. For example, he'll go to different local businesses and create this content about this whatever, like, you know, or a different location, this certain area, right? Something that people want to kind of like almost like a tourist would want to follow or a local would like be interested in learning about a certain area. And that that content creation. It's he builds, people want to be just like you, right? So that's
Totally.
where the content creators online, they're creating this lifestyle that people want to be just like you, and they get drawn to you, and they're more likely, they look up to you, so they're more likely going to want to work with you.
Yeah, exactly. You guys can also check out my Instagram because we've done about 8 to 10 deals this year just from social media, and we're doing exactly that, connecting with local like businesses that you love and like want to support, and gaining more trust to the community. Do local community guides. Like most of our stuff that we post, and we do have a lot of listings. We post more of like reels and stuff now. We don't really post still images. We're doing a lot more than that. And we also have that called like the link tree that you're saying, where it's like go to the blog, go to your website, go into this, become a nosy neighbor. Like we put that as well in all in ours. So it works, right? And like the best part about it is like making sure that you're going onto your story and you have people that like love, know, and trust you. And if you lose followers, that's all good. Like let them leave, because now you're getting more of an organic kind of like community that wants to like know what you're doing, love you, and do all that kind of stuff, right? So I rather have like 20 good people than like 1,000 people that are viewing but never interact, right? And it's really cool because when you come across like home inspections or anything throughout your day, you can go on and talk about it, and people want to see behind the scenes. They don't want to see the perfectness anymore, right? They want to see the raw mentality of like what you're doing. So I think it's really great. I think at the end of the day, like goes back to the beginning of this webinar, is like you can do anything. It's just what kind of lead gen do you want to do? If you're a person that likes to go party at night with friends and stuff, that could be your lead gen. Like, believe it or not, you could go there, as long as you're like doing it intentionally and like actually doing it properly, like you would do like an agent locator thing or something like that. I know some of my colleagues that do very well, and all they do is just go out and socialize and party.
Yeah. And they create content. They create video based on that. They edit those videos. They make it, look exciting. Like, I want to hang out with that guy.
Right.
I want to go party with them. Right. It's like, oh, I can help you buy a house at the same time. Right. Exactly. So you're building those social audiences based on who you are, and creating this lifestyle, this draw to want to be just like you, or be a friend, or associated with you, or acknowledged by you in some way, shape, or form. Right. So they become a little online celebrity. It's kind of a unique world we live in right now.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, it's just like you can do anything you want. Like, even if, for example, let's say you have kids and you want to be a part of their school, like you could go do those like meetings and stuff like that, and still like, do it properly, where it's a lead gen, and like you ask them questions. They're like, oh, what do you do? I'm a real estate agent. Oh, okay. Well, like, great. Like, I know someone. Like, it's just building relationships, right? So like literally anything is lead gen.
Absolutely.
So I think going to like, can we split the ad budget to Google and Facebook? I believe you can. I know Crystal's just
you can. Yeah, you can definitely split it. You can definitely put money towards your Facebook leads 100%. So it really depends on how much you're spending, though, because again, you want to make sure that you have a healthy, decent budget for both of them. I would say, bare minimum on Google, bare minimum 250, ideally 3 to 4. Facebook, you're going to want to be spending at least $6 a day, at least, kind of on there. So making sure you have those, those decent budgets to make sense. And also, it's encouraged that you would have the funds to be able to run it long enough that you can actually, do a split test, because you're going to be able to differentiate which leads are coming from Facebook versus which leads are coming from Google in your CRM system. So then you can make the judgment as well, am I finding better quality in my Facebook leads versus my Google, or vice versa? Maybe I want to shift how I'm spending my money. I still want to spend on Google because it's great, but Facebook right now seems to be performing better. The leads I'm getting right now, I find are better. So I want to up that budget instead. So it's just, running one for a month and be like, oh, it's not working. These ones aren't great. That's kind of not the way to go look at it. So I would say, have intentions of, trying to be able to run it for at least 6 months if you are splitting it, to be able to properly evaluate if you're looking to do that and see where, because every market's going to be different, right? So
Yeah.
Especially with Facebook, right? So when you're doing these types of ads, it gets, that market's out there and you still have competition like you would on Google. So depending on, how many people in that area are targeting and running those types of ads, is going to kind of also, affect the quality of lead that you are getting in, that are in, through Facebook.
Yeah, I totally understand. And I agree. Especially when you're doing like these kind of things, you have to give it a couple months, 3 to 6 months for it to really make a decision on like if it works or not. Just anything, right?
100%. Yeah. And some people will do it where they, they'll do Facebook for sellers and Google for buyers, right? So they split it that way. And the great thing is like with Facebook, you can add your pixel to that, so those ads keep showing in front of somebody. You also have, again, it's bringing people back into your website. So again, you have tag marketing is also an option with us as well. So that's those banner ads that you see, those ad choice ads that follow people around. They see it, all over the internet, whether they're on, the Globe and Mail, Kijiji, YouTube. Those ads pop up everywhere, right? So it encourages people just to follow this brand recognition, really. One of the great things you guys are actually going to really enjoy is tomorrow's release. We have an update coming out. For all of you guys that are on the automated system, you are now going to have the ability to share a unique link that's directly connected to your CRM and the agents, the home locator app. Meaning that if I'm not currently a lead in your system and you sent me that link, I sign up on it, I'm now a lead in your system.
Nice.
So that's another, creative way where, whether you're running advertisements, if you're like running a kind of a traffic campaign to that link to download, that's one way where you just present it to, anyone that's on mobile will see that ad, download the app and you call your app, it's a home locator app, but you can call it whatever you want to really at the end of the day on the advertisement, to get somebody to sign up on it or be engaged and to click to bring it into the store, to bring them into the app store. So that's going to be exciting for a lot of you because you're going to be able to include that in your email signatures, right? So download my app, have a nice little image, hyperlink that image. You can also purchase yourself a domain name and include it on all your print marketing as well, right? So, nice. And then forward it to forward that app link right to that domain name. So if you're sending out, whatever it is, or you are sending, even doing door knocking and leaving stuff at the doors, you're able to do that. So again, it's just another creative way that you can drive people into a lead into your CRM system. And they're kind of at that point almost like bypassing the website, right? It's just good. And you're getting all their addresses. So it's like super cool. So excited about that one. Yeah. So excited about that one. I think that those that actually take advantage of it could actually, reap some decent rewards just for their everyday hustles.
Yeah. Honestly, that's pretty cool because sometimes like it's hard to you're out and about and you can't get to your computer or you're in appointments and you can't manually enter all the stuff that you talked about, right? And sometimes if your day gets crazy, you forget to add people in and you're doing it the next day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's pretty cool.
So that's the one of the really that's coming out. Questions come out tomorrow.
Nice.
So that's good. Yeah, and then also another one for anyone that it does do pre-constructions. You guys are now going to be able to add pre-construction properties to your automated websites. Yeah, so you'll be able to manually add them in. They'll still have the same type of forced registration that you see on the listings, like the active listings.
Okay.
So, and then it's all just data entry, right? So you're just putting all the information you have on there, but in order for them to be able to access some of the information. So if you have like all the photos, of course, they can't see, but also like information pertaining to like the unit cost, like the, starting in a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, starting at, let's say 600, they wouldn't be able to see the price. They can't see that information until they sign up. So,
which is good.
Yeah. Like they can see they can see a generalized price if you put that on there. Actually, no, they can't. Can they? Yeah, actually, they see the starting at, so the lowest price. They'll see that like on the actual image, but you can actually turn that off so that they can't see anything if you don't want them to see anything until they sign up. So
Yep. A great thing that you guys can do too for all your leads is make a campaign, just like one email or a text message or whatever, about Christmas. Just saying, hey, happy holidays, make it nice. Like if you guys are technical and can put banners on with your brand and all that other stuff, great time to do it. Remember, like all these holidays give you a reason to reach out to people.
Yes.
Right. So maybe like, they haven't responded to you, but they'll respond back to the Merry Christmas or whatever, right? And that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's kind of what it is. And it's just connecting with people, just calling people in and out. That's really what it is, is there any other objections and any kind of stuff that you guys are need to know? I actually have a question for Crystal. So what do you do with someone like that is garbage lead, bad info? Do you delete them because it's archived?
We don't know that they stay in your archive indefinitely.
Yeah, but would you delete them?
So the lead that you can't communicate with, so like you have a bad phone number and a bad email, or even if they've opted out of email, that's a lead you cannot communicate with at all. That would go into your archive. Just make sure you mark their phone numbers as invalid is what I tell everyone.
Yeah.
Because people sometimes make it back to your website, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they pull up, maybe they opted out, but they found an old email and they clicked on it, right? It's going to prompt them for their phone number. Or maybe they just happen to click on your Google ad again, but down the road. The system's going to recognize, especially if they use the same email address, that they already have an account, and then it's going to prompt them, right? So sometimes, it's not very often, these are like rare occasions. I'm not going to like make it seem like you're going to bring back all your archives, but sometimes you are able to resurrect some of them down the road, right? So, but yeah, if you have some form of communication offering, whether it's the phone or the email, that's not an archive lead. You're going to leverage what you have. Use it to your advantage, right? Exactly. Not how I put it is like, not all of us are willing to give out all our information online at once.
It's true.
Right. And how,
you don't know who you're talking to, right?
Exactly. I'm not giving you my email, my phone number, or my phone number, whatever it is. I'll give you one, but not both.
Right.
Right. So
I think that's totally cool.
Yeah. So, because I think some people prefer to talk on it. They don't want to get spam with emails, but they're okay with talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Or vice versa. They don't want to talk to somebody, but they want all the emails. Right. So it's kind of works both ways. But
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. If you guys have no other objections, I mean, I pretty much, I know we're a little bit like 15 minutes, but I'm here for you guys, right? Like if no one's, Crystal and I are giving you guys a lot of wealth of information over here. So whatever you guys need help on, like, please let us know. And,
Absolutely.
And then, so I can't believe, I don't want to stress you out, Crystal, but I can't believe Christmas is almost here.
I don't even know where like the month is. It's gone. But you know what? I think it was because it did go away.
Yeah.
And that I lost 10 days, like just with doing that. So I think that's also kind of like, oh shoot, like it just sped things up that much more.
Yeah.
And then I'm like busy every single day. It seems like it's like there's always something going on that I can't get to do the things that I know I have to do on top of that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So what do we do for your clients at Christmas? So we change it up every year. I think next year we're going to do like a bigger event for our clients, but this year we did wine. We made our own wine. We made our own labels. We branded them. Super cool. And we're, delivering them, or some of them are coming to the office to pick them up. So it's just, touching base with our database and all that kind of stuff, right? I think it's super important. But we're also sending Christmas cards to everyone. But not everyone's getting a bottle of wine. Like only our star clients are getting it.
Well, that's a good way to kind of just to make some wine. Or
cheerleaders.
Your repeat clients are the ones that maybe closed this past year, right? Those ones there.
Or even newer leads that you're building a really strong connection with that you're working with now, obviously, like take care of those. That's kind of what I would recommend. But
Hmm.
it's important to always touch base with your clients, either send them a card or even calling them, right? Going
Yeah.
down the list and just saying, hey, I just wanted to call you, say Merry Christmas, or send messages. But I think calling would be better in those times. I mean, not it depends on your client and what they prefer. If they like texting, like just text them or
Hmm.
whatever. But I think
Yeah.
it's important to let people know that, like, hey, you're just literally coming with the intention to wish you like and your family happy holidays. Like
Hmm.
there's no
Yeah.
sales involved, and I think if anything, it really speaks volumes.
Yep, and you're gonna pull that into your check-ins. So if you guys are doing your check-ins on individuals, like again, not everyone answers when you're doing that. So wish them all the best. Like almost lead into your check-in with that, and then but also just also if you have anything that you need to adjust, I'm here to help. That sort of thing, right?
Exactly.
So lead into the with the gratitude and the warm wishes, and then into what can I do if there's anything I can help you with it. So that sort of thing.
For sure. I totally agree.
Because then they're going to listen to the message, right? If we start off with the check-in, we don't know necessarily if they're going to listen to the full message, but if you're leaving them a nice greeting, whatever it is, and then kind of lead in that and follow it, then they're probably more likely to listen to the whole thing.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Right? It just depends. So I know,
Yeah.
like all of us, we kind of listen to part of it. Oh, I know I do. I'd be like, listen to part of it next, like delete. Like I don't even listen to the full voice message a lot of the time because I'm like, either I'd
That,
rather talk to the person or it's like I feel like it's irrelevant, so I just delete. I
yeah.
don't take the time to
That's why it
listen
has
to
to
it.
be a hook. You have to say something like really like powerful so they can like
Mm-hmm.
listen for the next 5 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. So it's always kind of remember your habits when you're listening to a voice message that
Right.
you don't feel as communication is necessary at this time. We often so what would you do and what would make you actually listen to that message?
Right. I agree. And like don't be
Mm-hmm.
scared to listen to your calls again and all that because like you really learn a lot from it.
Oh, absolutely. Right. So if you guys know that you got stumbled on a call, let's say, or you get off that call and you feel like it didn't quite go as you had hoped it would have gone, or um, you're kind of left feeling a little bit unsatisfied. Listen back at it and kind of hear and say, like, think of different things or different creative ways you could engage with them differently to maybe have them a little bit more engaged back. Or maybe, and the same goes with the conversations that go really well,
Right.
right? So listen back at those calls and what was kind of said where you noticed, because you'll hear it as well when you're listening back at it. Was what were we talking about when the conversation shifted, right? You can feel that shift a little bit with the tone and the expression of and responses from your lead and how they're opening up
Right.
to you.
Right. It's true.
Mm-hmm. So it's it is a learning curve, right? Practice makes perfect, and even then, it's always changing. So you can't
Yeah.
be. It's what we say in the dialogue will constantly be changing for the most part.
Yeah. And
For the
make sure
most
you're
part.
asking questions, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't stress on how important that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And general conversation as well, right? So don't just talk about business if you have that opportunity. Like let them to open up, talk about things that are part of their lives. If they have kids or location, like whatever, let them talk about that or try to relate to that a little bit, right? Now you're just kind of having a little conversation. It could be like a mom to mom conversation, right?
Exactly.
Or dad to dad conversation. But these people, when you start to do that, they feel a lot more at ease when they're
Right.
talking to you. They've opened up. They now also recognize that you're not just on this call to sell them something. So again, it's just being genuine though. Don't sound fake,
Yeah.
but
I know.
being genuine about it. Because again, sometimes we can feel like you're just being nice to me because you want my money.
Yeah.
Right? We don't
And
want to
that's what
try.
you
We
don't
try
want.
not to come across like that, right? So
Yeah. But yeah,
and
I would say that if you guys have any calls that you were willing to share with me or let me know and I'd be happy to help you out and kind of go over that with you guys, help you through the objections. Like I already know what I need to do and I'm here to help you guys. So just let me know.
mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Well, I think is there any more questions that you guys have? Otherwise, I think we're probably safe to hop off, but let
That's
us
the case.
know.
Yeah, if that's the case, I hope everyone has a great Christmas. Uh
Mm-hmm.
can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I see you guys will be after.
Yeah, so we'll be actually off that week, so the 28th. So we won't have a session on the 28th. So we won't be seeing you now until the second week of
Jan.
January
Okay.
2023.
Wow.
So right when everyone needs to or should have been already getting their butts in gear.
Right.
Right. I feel like the first week of January, people are still kind of they're motivated, but still in the holiday season. You got to remember the same is probably going with your leads, right?
Yeah.
So the second week is when, you know, people start to, okay, we're back to reality now.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey
Awesome.
guys, take care and let me know if you need anything at all. Crystal, always a pleasure. Talk to
Likewise.
you and enjoy the
Okay.
holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all of you. If we don't see you
Yes.
before then.
Yes.
Alrighty. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.